I've got a special little Christmassy video I think you're going to find interesting. Hi everyone, welcome to a special edition of Pal to Tech. As many of you know by now, Fujifilm just released a set of firmware updates for a number of cameras. Now last week, I already made a video announcing this and I went over it, so if you haven't seen that yet, be sure to check it out. For those of you that don't know this, I launched a special website called Fujifirmware.com, and I explained the whole thing in that prior video. And on that website, I included a very simple little survey asking my audience what they thought of the autofocus improvements. That's it. It wasn't meant to be a scientific survey. I spun it up in the middle of the night. I never thought we would get more than maybe 20, 30, 50, or even 100 responses. And what I didn't tell you was that when I was creating this survey, in the back of my mind, I thought, if I end up getting, it won't happen, but if I end up getting over 500 responses before Christmas Eve, I would make a special video announcing the results. Before I share the results, I want to address one question I've gotten quite a bit, and that is why I didn't include the XH1 model camera in this survey. It was the middle of the night when I created the survey, and I forgot about that. Even if I had remembered, I wouldn't have put the XH1 model in there. And the reason why is because that was a separate firmware update over a month ago that Fujifilm released. And there has been a lot of testing already, a lot of feedback, and I wanted to focus primarily on the X-T5, which is my favorite camera, the one that I'm the most familiar with, the one that I'm going to be testing, and it's also the one that most of my viewers seem to be using. So we are going to do two things now. I'm going to show you the results, and then I took the results of the feedback that you provided and I ran them through the strongest AI model that you could get. I had it analyzed, and you'll find it interesting. So for question number one, what camera model did you use for your testing? A vast majority of you used the X-T5. Here is what you told me regarding this firmware update with autofocus, whether or not it's been improved when shooting stills. 66.2% of you said that it has been improved. 23% said no change at all, same. Some of you didn't test stills at all. And 3.7% said that autofocus is now worse. Moving on now to your experience with shooting video. Not much I can report here because 65.6% of you said that you didn't test shooting video. Okay, so, oh well. And that also tells me why I actually think it was a good idea the XH model wasn't included in this survey, because that is really a different audience for that camera. However, 21.2% of you did say that the video autofocus has been improved. 9.2% said no change at all, and 3.9% said that autofocus is now worse. Then we get into the final question where you were asked to provide any other details, share more information about the type of shooting you were doing, and there were quite a bit of comments and feedback. Now, there's no way I'm going to read all of these submissions to you. There's just too many of them. However, what I did was I downloaded all of the feedback that you provided into an Excel spreadsheet, and I decided to have all of it analyzed by artificial intelligence, specifically with ChatGPT, and specifically using this model right here that they offer, which is the most advanced reasoning and analytical model that is available for this platform. And here is what Skynet was able to tell us. Many users had come away more confident in shooting challenging scenarios, with a significant number of users noticing a better success rate with maintaining focus on moving subjects. Face eye detection more consistently successful. However, we got some mixed results in low light. Subtle but noticeable improvements in low light accuracy. Photographers who do a lot of portraiture were particularly pleased with the new firmware. However, the firmware struggled when there were multiple faces in the frame. Overall, the highest praise seemed to come toward sports event portrait and wildlife photography, and I've received a number of comments from you regarding wildlife photography and this new update. So I actually agree with this great machine in the sky on that one. And to be clear, most of the users that reported this had the camera set in AFC mode. So then I asked it specifically what type of photography benefited the most from this recent firmware update. And what we got was sports, wildlife, and fast-paced events. I mean, no surprise there. And so then I asked it which type of photography saw the least benefit from this firmware update. It came back with two answers based on your feedback. One of them was low-light hunting and scenarios where you have multiple faces in a single scene. The issues noticed were that it bounced around between faces, and it couldn't really stay on the primary subject without manual intervention. And finally, I decided to ask it one more question. What were the specific camera settings used that resulted in the best autofocus performance? AFC was the most common focus mode used. Most of you turned off pre-autofocus. Now, the two AFC custom settings that were the most successful based on about 500 of your responses were: number 2, ignore obstacles and continue to track the subject. And then the runner-up to that, either suddenly appearing subject or erratically moving subjects. And it was also mentioned, and I've discussed this before as well, that you can really benefit by increasing the tracking sensitivity slightly above the default. For sports and wildlife, zone focus at 3x3 or a 5x5 grid. We're not done with this, not by a long shot. And I also plan myself on testing out this firmware update on this camera, the X-T5, and I will share those results with you as well. Those definitely will not be coming until January. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found the video helpful or at least entertaining. And if you did, be sure to give it the like and subscribe. I wish all of you a wonderful holiday season and a very happy new year. And I'll see you in a new video very soon. Take care.